Now, in terms of other phenomena, I'm gonna take a slight detour, or I shouldn't say slight. It's going to be a detour, but it's related. What about experiences that people have when they're on a psychotropic substance like DMT?
Yeah, I think that is hallucinatory in its origins. This can open up your perception to all kinds of areas, and certainly can be. I mean, Terence McKenna wrote about this. Brian Leary, I think is his name,
Or Dennis,
Dennis, yeah.
Although there is a Dennis Leary who's a comedian too.
But yeah, I mean, there's certainly some research into DHT and gosh, what is
DMT?
DMT, and there's the other
dimethyltryptamine.
There's another drug that people are taking, which is like, oh, you should try this. I'm like, no, I'm not trying that.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah.
There's DMT in that. It's just a little bit less concentrated.
All right. And yeah, I've interviewed people who've had their ayahuasca encounters, and it doesn't really quite match up to what I would say are actual valid accounts. I am not going to, make any judgment, pass any judgment on people who, try this, because I'm certain that they're having some sort of perceptive experience. But
it seems to be, if you read about the encounters that people have when they do DMT, it seems more akin to some of the experiences you had like during astral travel, only weirder, like much weirder. So if you were to kind of take an astral experience and merge it with like a fundamentally different alien experience, but by alien I don't mean like grays and things like that. I mean like far beyond that, like incomprehensible, like higher order machine. They call them machine elves and all sorts of stuff, but they seem to be outside of someone's consciousness. They seem to have their own.
Yeah. Well, it's entirely subjective.
Right.
And whereas the out-of-body experience is not, to a certain extent. You can go out of your body and verify stuff in the outside world and go there physically and prove it to yourself, at least, and in some cases to others. I've been able to do that successfully, be perceived by outside witnesses. It took a long time, but I did it.
Yeah, DMT, you can't really do that because people don't even know where they are, right?
No, it's an entirely subjective experience that I don't think has valid objective reality. So if you're seeing ETs, I don't think they're ETs, honestly. That's my assessment. I can't prove it one way or the other.
Do you think there are other entities, though? Not necessarily ETs?
I don't know. I this is not my area of expertise. I just don't. It's not something I would recommend because I don't think it's matching up with what people are reporting in terms of actual contact. The reports are different. They're not the same. It's not leading to contact. If this was an avenue to make contact, you would think at some point, the UFO would land and other people would see it. That's not happening. As near as I can tell, it's entirely subjective experience, which in some ways, has parallels to what people would perceive to be I'm sure it's an extraordinary, experience to have.
I think some of the literature suggests that the effects afterwards are very similar to the effects of having had a near-death experience in terms of the person's reaction about their outlook on reality and things like that. Although very different, like what people describe in DMT experiences are not or at least don't appear to be anything like near-death experiences.
I can't speak to it with real authority. Honestly, I can only tell you that I've interviewed some people who've taken ayahuasca and these sort of things and have told me their encounters. And I'm like, well, okay, that's interesting. But it doesn't match up with what I've heard from people who are actual contactees. There's similarities, but it doesn't sound like the same experience to me.
If you enjoyed this video,
please hit the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. Additionally, if you have any feedback, please put something in the comments below. And lastly, if you want to watch the full episode of this clip, you can find it above. Thanks again for watching.